We're celebrating with Peter Jesperson. He's got his memoirs, the book, Euphonic Recall. And
Euphoric.
Euphoric. There we go. Euphoric. And what an amazing journey that you're capturing. And I know reading and listening to music goes hand in hand with you. What was that process like of remembering all these stories and putting it down and looking back at what you've done from kind of a third party perspective?
It was a great experience. I really I loved it. Although, as with anything of this sort, where you're looking at your past, and sometimes you have to write about things that aren't exactly the happiest of moments. I think I think I mean, it was part a great experience and part a torturous experience. Let's put it that way. Um, I had to deal with being laid off from the replacements. I had to deal with the fact that I had a substance abuse problem that messed up some of my work over the years, and that sort of stuff. But I guess I hadn't really thought seriously about writing a book, and it didn't um, come to any sort of reality until I got an email from a publisher in the spring of 2018. And at first I kind of lurched back and forth from, yes, I can do this, to who am I kidding? I can't write a book. It took me a while to really wrap my head around it. And then once I thought, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to give it my all, I said to the publisher, I need to clear my desk because I want writing the book to be my job. I don't want to do it in between other things that I'm doing at the same time. I want to really focus on writing. If I'm going to write a book, I need to do the best job I can. So I had to clear my desk, and that took another 8, 10 months to finish the projects that I had in motion. And as I got serious about the book, it was from a publisher that was outside of Minnesota, and they were great people, and they taught me a whole lot, and I have great respect for them, but we hadn't actually signed a contract. And I had a number of other writer friends of mine say, you might want to try some Minneapolis publishers or Minnesota publishers, because just you being local, you might get a little more juice out of a Minnesota publisher. And so I was introduced to the Minnesota Historical Society Press, and they made an offer instantly, put a contract on the table. And I didn't want to do anything underhanded with the people who had reached out to me first that were from out of state. And I told them, I was very transparent, said, I've been offered another contract, and I don't want to go behind your back, but I wanted to let you know it's something that I need to consider. And they understood, and they said, well, we would like to make a counter offer. I said, please do. We went back and forth a little bit, and I ended up going with the Minnesota Historical Society Press with the blessing of the initial publisher. And that's really how it came to be. And I probably spent from that point on about 3 years working on the book, every day, nights, weekends, anytime I could actually put a decent sentence together. And I just worked my butt off. And I ended up coming up with a manuscript that was 163,000 words. And I didn't really think about the word count when I turned it in, but the publisher said, you know what, this is twice as long as you were contracted for. You're going to have to knock this in half. And so I had to do some major cuts, and that's what the book is. It came in actually around 87,000 words when I was done, but that's the process of the book, I guess, if that answers your question.
Yeah. Well, being a first time author, as you were, if you did it again, what advice would you have, or what would you do differently?
I guess pay attention to the word count a little better. But at the same time, there's a part of me, I understand that, there was a quote that I read while I was kind of preparing myself to write a memoir. The first publisher I was with actually assigned some memoirs to me to read, which was really helpful. And one of the things I read was another memoirist who said she had written some early memoir material, turned it into a publisher, and the publisher got back to them with one particular comment that stuck in her head, which was, "You've made the mistake of thinking everything you think is worth writing down." And and I thought, "Ouch, ooh, that hurts." And so I understand that not everything I think is worth writing down, but I do think that the book is shorter than it should have been. I think the editing, all due respect to the publisher, who obviously I'm very indebted to, and I have a lot of respect for. Um, I think it got edited too hard. And it seems to me that if they asked for 75,000 words and I wrote 163,000 words, I wish that somebody there had had the bandwidth to read the 163,000 words. And they might have found that increasing the word count from 75 to maybe not 163, but maybe 100, 110 might have been worth it for this book. But anyway, we won't ever know that. And I've got a lot of leftover material. Maybe that's something I can use for a director's cut someday. Maybe it's something that I can use for a second book. I don't know. But anyway, I do feel it's a little short, although some people that I know people who are know a bit about my work and whatnot say they think that the book tells the story well. So, I mean, I think there's some, and then I've also heard from other people who say they do think it was edited too severely. So who knows? That's I think it's a little short, but I'm also pretty happy with the way it turned out.
Yeah, almost in the music business where somebody would suggest a double album, suggest, well, maybe it's a two-part book. Maybe this is part one and there's a part two, and so you didn't have to chop away. But like you say, at least you have that writing and your memories.
Yeah.